Well, good evening, everybody. It's nice to say hello to you from the lakes of Hawaii. Minus a couple of thousand miles. Hello, I'd just like to say a few words to you in relation to the PPN, which is started up in County Louth. It's replacing the County Forum. Now, it was supposed to be set up by June, but unfortunately, or fortunately, it's not been set up. I was at a meeting about over a week ago, and we discussed the elected three people, fair enough. Over subsequent meetings, the one we were at was in the dock. That was okay. But there was a gentleman who had been convening the meeting, or I don't know what to say, Mr. Moran, and he made a statement that there was no reports going in to the county forum. Well, I'm afraid this man has overlooked an awful lot, and it's dangerous saying things which isn't right. As a matter of fact, I put up reports that can all be got on the web, and most of my reports will be got, or I've copied them, and I was in the Regional Drugs Task Force. I'm also we had reports from a Mr. Harry McCarthy, regular. I haven't heard anything from the Drugs Force. I cover of a meeting since I've been there, but it was reporting effective. Some people weren't. He didn't emphasise. It wasn't. Sean Crudden was there. He sent very good, high standard of reports. It was myself when I was chair, but they were doing that, and the vice chair, but there was happening. Probably near the last end of it, some of them didn't send in reports. But like it looked like this thing. It's just making jobs for the boys, because the thing doesn't seem to synchronise in. If we're supposed to be taking things from the bottom, I don't approve of the new way they're doing it now. I won't blame the council for that. I'll blame the government. It's not really well thought out. It would be good for a while. You have a gentleman, he's doing the work of the council more or less. He'll have to convene meetings, 3 men in different areas. If he likes torture or work, you ring someone, there's no email, you'd have to address letters. There's a lot of work in it. For what? Because if we're supposed to signalise opinions, where I am here now in Anglesey Terrace in Greenore, it's very, I could get the planning off house myself. I don't need to do that. I'm an able person, because my role as a churchman is international. I'm over the chancery. I was looking out at a neighbour there who had an accident, so don't pass the remarks to me. So it's nice to be here and to say that they're trying to do something, but I'm afraid there's a lot of information that Mr. Moran just hasn't got right. They also illegitimately, it wouldn't be very democratic when they changed the rules of the last forum, when they're putting members off. It wouldn't be constitutional. It wouldn't be democratic not to consider all the forum members. It should have been an annual general meeting. That would be anything done. It's not a dictatorship we live in. We are in a so-called democracy, or we think it's a democracy. So it would have been proficient before this spandal, the last meeting, putting in changes, which were nearly irrelevant. It was a way of just dumping members off the committee. That's okay. So they dumped us off the committee, and then they're wanting to get new people back. No transport. It's a dead duck, I'm afraid. It'll go for a little while, and then it will not continue. So it'll fall through, because there's a bad way. The way we have to get complaints to take on board to SBCs, and the timing, they won't get that right. Synchronise it, because if you're supposed to get things from your motions, and there's a lot of red tape in this, it's not going to bloody work. It's very handy for to get on and get onto your councillors to work it, and a waste of time, a waste of council staff time, I feel too, and an entire waste of money, because we're democratic enough with the councillors, I feel, and we can bring our emotions up to them. If the thing would work well, the way they're trying to make it work, it all synchronises. There's maybe say there's 230 groups. I don't know whether there is in Loud. They say there is, but I didn't know that they're all functioning. However, we'll accept the number. It is 230, right? And they'll go to municipal meetings. Every other municipal meeting is one vote. You would be lucky to get 27 or 24 different of those groups going to any meeting. I think there was about 29 decided at that last meeting, which was a good turnout in comparison to other meetings. 24 would vote. So the point about it is this: we're supposed to get motions when this gets set up. Now there's nearly 2 years of the council gone. We're into the second year. So we have to watch our timeline. And I'm not just going to fault the council for this, because they're only doing a job. But it's the management of what we have, it's non-existent. Because the government just seems to blow out things, and they're very ill thought out. Now there's a priest called Sean Healy, and he's supposed to have set this up. My God, it's I see it too messy for the whole country. Because I can get a thing done, we could bypass that. We have a environmental health group. Well, now I don't speak for myself here in local issues. You don't need them at all, because we're very good councillors of different political persuasions and very apple men to speak to. But this forum, I just can't say, it's not the forum now. You're going to call it Public Participation Network, and this is a government thing all around there, and how it's going to work. I'm afraid there's going to be the poor staff in there. I'll be pitying them, trying to work it out. It's just like a window dressing job. Get that window, we don't use that room upstairs, dress it. And maybe that's the way Kenny thinks. He's talking to school kids. I'm not saying Kenny set it up. He didn't. It was actually, he was the Taoiseach in Ireland. He's a beloved head book cat, or whatever you want to call him. He's not an economics advisor. He was a primary school teacher, and that's it. And he's probably self-taught down the line. He'd know how to run Europe and all that. So this thing they've set up, any PP, and I understood when I did ask the government to change it, to bring it back to more of the old style, have it interdisciplinary. What that means now, in the short time I'm going to speak to you, we'll have groups from different areas, different talents. Because I think it's very good. It would be a multidisciplinary discussion if they all go, say, from their areas. But then people now don't have the interest to go. And there was a lot of problems then if you put something up, advertise the thing, oh, the council should have done this, the council should have done that. Red tape is crippled it, and I think a lot of people would be afraid to move. Now they used to give us transport money, which was £1,000 at one stage. You don't get any wages or anything for it, but the transport money, I don't think there's any available at the moment. There was, but I was told by a council official at an event we were at that there was none for last year. So the new committee, I don't know how they'll be getting people to go. Like they want us, for example, to go to Drogheda now for, they call it plenary. They like using big titles. Sounds good. But that's not the council's fault. That's the way the geezers have set it up in Dublin. So we go to the next meeting. I'd expect people to go 40 miles to listen to a bit of waffle, maybe they're electing a couple of people up, and they're only meeting so many months a year. I think the whole bloody thing's a joke. And I certainly would not be wasting this very scarce resources in petrol driving 14 quid up the Drogheda plus wear and tear. It's not on at all, plus wasting my time. The council officials will have the money and they'll have their transport, etc. I'm not going to be a guinea pig. I went to university for 8 years. I am not interested. I can do things here in my own locality and for the Peninsula and Cooley. without all that paraphernalia, because I wish it would work, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work, I'm afraid. I'm not being pessimistic. You can take me what I like. I'm a prophet and I'm a person. What I do say, I can see the future. I can see the economic bust coming here, and Europe will disintegrate eventually. It's madness to do that type of setup. So this type of setup, public participation network, it makes the council look. The officials now, I'm not running down the officials at all. It means that the officials just means that it looks as they're busy doing something, getting nothing in end product, because it'll never come to anything, only a talking shop. Because they're going to miss points, and it's going to be arguing. We said this, we bring it to the next meeting. It's not a primary school kids are playing, like in a kindergarten school or anything, or a kindergarten level around that type of thing. There's people coming to these meetings, and they'll probably come in good faith. And there's the danger, the way it's set up now. It was better the last way when there were local meetings, and there'll be chairman. Maybe it's intended to be similar. County Louth, for example, has there's 4 electoral areas, but 2 of them goes together, Dundalk and North and South Louth. That's okay, but there's only 2 meetings then with the Secretariat, and it's not. The other way it would have worked better when you had the monthly meetings. You could have done something with it, but there was very poor cooperation with the officials that was in the council dealing with the forum last year. And I must say, if there was a business, like, I wouldn't certainly want officials that make out you're not doing something and you do it and you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. No, we hadn't. We had a good woman, Ellen O'Hanlon, and she retired. And we had some nice ladies, very temporary in between. But we had one lady, and words wouldn't describe her. It wasn't fit for purpose what she was doing. There was hassle, a meeting called out in a yard behind a youth centre, and you couldn't hear your ears with a bell ringing. And I thought she was chairing the meeting. I was vice chairing that meeting. That was way back in, it was May last year with the forum. So there was an ill feeling going with the forum and who was running it. We were told on one hand we had our say and all this, and we were the dominant power, but yet the officials seemed to be the dominant power. But I would have had a lot of pressure from certain people in the forum saying that we're supposed to be our own boss and this, but it wasn't working right. Now, if they think this is going to work right, I would like to see something working right, that things could be taken and brought to the board, you know, get to where that they go to, get to delivered. It won't be delivered. It's just as well to pay the staff and give us a lot of tea and buns and talk about the topic of the day, because it's not going to happen. Forums originally, I feel, were to set up, I may not be right, that's my opinion from reading between the lines, they were set up to give councillors the feel of the people what's happening in different areas. We weren't in a target vote, we couldn't demand the council to do something. But if you're on a board, and then the way the meetings work, it's not always easy to get your point across. You're sitting on a committee of 20, whatever's on it, you know. I was in the drugs task force, and you were dealing with a lot of hidden agendas, and it wasn't easy. I can see what's going on, and I can comment on all these things individually, but I just don't want to sidetrack or we get lost. I'm just saying, this public participation network, I don't know. So I'll wish it well. I'm not blaming the council officials for the structure, but I am blaming the government. The way it's set up, whether it's Father Sean or Dr. Sean Healy is to blame, I don't know, but I can't see it being better than the forum. You're either independent or you're not independent. If you're independent, the reckon will be more independent now, but I see anything the government has put their hands to, they've literally made a balls of it. Very few things can you tell me what they've done good. The best thing they did was giving themselves rises. You're giving men like Dermot Ahern something like £2,000 of a rise on top of pension, which would be roughly over 130,000, maybe 134. Bertie Ahern for doing nothing. The bankrupt the country, you might as well say. put the country haywire. We went into an austerity mode, which, it's mad economics. So now with people participation, I think we're better if we had to recruit a military coup that take over this country. The people's participation, because democracy is based on utilitarianism, which is the greatest happening principle. Basically, Benjamin Mills were at the start of it. One was in America and in the World Trading Banks, and one was in New York, in America, and one in London. So they started up. It was the greatest happiness principle was the idea, and it could justify anything if you study. We squint into what utilitarianism is. There's rule and there's active utilitarianism. There's two main types. So you can justify anything with utilitarianism, and to make it very, very simple, if it's people rule and they're said to do something, well, they can't just at the moment kill people, but the way it's going, it will soon be that way, because fucking human rights and all that, they're trying to get rid of that. And a lot of governments, that's going through Europe, they're trying to get rid of human rights and all that. So they'll be able to do what they like with you, unless the people rise. Well, I do see moves that it will rise, but it's just, it might take a year, 2 years, might 3. Nobody likes to see us rain a country. I don't want to see killing people for the sake of it. So let's hope now that you all oh gosh, I nearly fell asleep. So I was just saying a little prayer there with my hat on, because it's keeping the sun in my eyes. So we'll hear you later anyhow. And I wish this People's Participation Network would go well, but certainly we're not going to be running round the county for nothing. I don't intend to waste my time. I'll work for anybody here, and I can use my own initiative, and I don't see the point in having Public Participation Network. Not the way it's going, and I hope I'm wrong. God love yous, and I'd just like to ask you to pray for the success of this Public Participation Network, and pray that I am wrong, and that it gets on, we can turn our backs into it and make people, well, we can't make them do it. You'll be taken up if you make someone do something. Make them participate constructively for the benefit of all. God bless you all. And Namal Nahar, Agus and Vic, Agus and Spirit, Nave, Amen. Aye. About your sweet lips.